Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Macedonio, and I'm joined today with Alane Freund. Alane is one of the superstars in the BNI SFA region. She finds it hard to believe, but she is in the 1%, the top 1% in sponsoring members into this chapter. She has sponsored 4 new members in 2020 alone. Okay, that is so exceptional. It's above the 1%. Okay, it's the upper percentage of the 1%ers. So, Alane, I was hoping that you'd share with us, like, how was it you're so successful at sponsoring members, particularly in 2020?
Well, right, the crazy year. Well, Mike, I was shocked to get your email that I was in the top 1%. I just couldn't believe it because I always feel like I'm not doing enough. And but I grew up in Oklahoma with pretty traditional values on a farm, no less. And I was always taught to be a good citizen. And I think that's why when I found BNI and when I was invited and joined, Giver's Gain just resonated with me. It's how I was trained to live my whole life, but put in a more specific way. And I think the reason 2020 made a difference for me, even though I invite like crazy every year of my 5 years, I've been inviting a lot. People need more. They needed more help. And so I guess I approached my inviting this year maybe with a bigger, opener heart, more open heart, that people are struggling, and I just really wanted to help them. So I think that's part of it.
So, what makes inviting and sponsoring so special for you in this past year?
I know that the 4 people that I invited, a lot more than 4, but the 4 people who joined, I know that they are, having the opportunity to grow their business. In fact, one of them is a woman I met walking my dog in my little rural community in West Marin, California. And she told me that she was an acupuncturist, and she moved back to Marin and reopened her practice after being away for a few years living in another state the month before COVID hit. And my heart just went out to her. She's like, I'm seeing 1 patient a day. And that's not sustainable for her family. Wouldn't be sustainable for anybody. And I said, well, how do you get more patients? How do you advertise your business? And slowly but surely, as we walked the dogs, I told her a little bit about BNI, and she had heard of it before. I think that helped a little bit. And she was so grateful to find an opening because, openings for acupuncturists, they're kind of few and far between because they do so well in BNI. So I think that really feeling people in dire straits, especially in my contact sphere is health and wellness because I'm a psychotherapist, and all the people that I invited that joined are in the health and wellness contact sphere. And we have struggled this year, and I know they needed help. So I think that's why it's made such a big difference.
Yeah. Well, what I find so special, Alane, also is most people, when they're sponsoring, are sponsoring into their own chapter. And 3 out of the 4 that you sponsored were actually into other chapters.
True. Well, 2 of the people I sponsored are in my same category. So, I learned in BNI that we are power partners, not competition. I never knew anything about networking before I joined BNI. I'm an introvert. So, I thought the way I got new clients was to sit in my office and wait for them to call me. And so I really have learned that it's a wonderful thing to network with people. We can't all see everybody. And a lot of mental health practitioners are actually full in their practices now because this has been a year with a lot of needed support in the mental health arena. So when I encounter other therapists or psychologists out there in the world and I talk to them about it, they're so amazed. So I sponsored a therapist into another chapter in Marin, and I sponsored another one, and I was trying to help her get into a different chapter, and it wasn't a good fit, even though she really liked the chapter. So I said, come on over, join Network Central with me. And now we've already referred back and forth twice, and she's only been in the chapter a month. So it's been a wonderful thing to be able to create stronger relationships with other people in my same category.
Excellent. Well, if there was something else you would want to share with BNI members who may be listening or viewing this video, what would it be?
Well, the lessons that I've learned from you and Don Lyons and Ivan Meisner are always that we're not asking them to visit or to come to our chapter because it helps us, even though of course it does. But I always come at it from the perspective of this will help them. And so I noticed this year, I felt more compassion for others because I knew how much we were all struggling. And I think that's what changed my inviting, because I really came at it from the position of how can I help you? And how are you getting business? How are you surviving? And, come and meet my colleagues, we'll help you. And that has been what has really made the difference. It truly is giver's gain.
It sure is. What a great example of Givers Gain and being in the top 1% through Givers Gain. So Elaine, if the viewers or the listeners wanted to contact you, what would be the best way for them to reach out to you?
Well, you can track me down through my websites. My name, Alane Freund, LMFT, or alanefriend.com, and areyouhighlysensitive.com. You can also find me all over social media under those two monikers, and come see my videos on YouTube.
And I hope they do. Elaine, again, congratulations. It's so great to catch up with you. And thank you so much for sharing that story. Yeah,
My
wonderful.
pleasure. Thank you, Mike.